Hi, I'm Dan Whittaker. Today we're going to take a look at how you can learn to shallow the golf club in the transition like the best players in the world do. How many of you guys have been told by pros, friends, read on the internet, turn your hips from the top, go left? Probably loads of you. Okay, the problem is there's ton of issues associated to this. We covered a lot of this in the 5 problems with rotational swings. So if you're unsure of that, take a look at that video. There's some good content in that. What we're going to cover today is how the arms work in relation to the correct motion of the body. Okay, so how do those arms work to give you space and shallow that club in the transition without being trapped? Hopefully a bit of a holy grail moment, light bulb moment going off for some of you. Let's take a look at it right now. One of the problems I tend to see with a lot of players is from the top of the backswing, you've been given the instructions of just turn the hips as hard as you want or go left. Now, that might work for a few players, but it ends up hurting more than it's helping. Now, the problem is, obviously, if you're just going to unwind the hips from the top, those arms are going to end up getting trapped behind you a little bit here. Okay, well, if they're getting trapped as you're coming in, you have to do something to reach that golf ball. Okay, now what is going to happen is as you rotate that body, the chest is going to start to follow quite quickly. What happens is the angle right in here between the left arm and the chest is tightening. So I can feel that pulling against kind of my pec area, top of my rib cage there. So as I'm starting down, it's pulling against it. What this is doing is leaving those arms behind. So this is a big problem for a lot of players, okay? So it's why the just unwind the hips is a really difficult thing to do. You know, I'm not saying it can't work, so some players it works great for, but it tends to be only working with the guys who've already got a great kind of maybe lateral move in their swing. It can work, okay? Now, what we're looking at is at the top of the backswing right here, okay? We're going to be talking now about how those arms actually go this way. Okay, so those hands have gone outwards a little bit, yet that golf shaft is shallowed. Okay. Now, I've been reading a lot of things and hearing a lot of things on the internet, people talking about how the left wrist shouldn't be cupped and it's actually bowed at the top. Okay. Well, we know this bit of just a theory from some guys saying, you know, we want it bowed at the top, so it's easy to keep it kind of bowed coming down. So therefore it can be in this position at impact. Okay, well, we know that 72% of the tour players are actually cupped or extended slightly in the wrist at the top. Okay, then what's happening is as that transition happens, the wrist starts to bow or flex a little bit, which then shallows the club. But through impact, everyone but one tour player is actually going back towards extension. They aren't actually flexing or staying in flexion, i.e. holding that angle like this through impact. Lots of injuries are going to cause through this. We'll do a good video on this in a bit of detail to help you guys understand where the problems are with this. But the first thing we're going to do is have a look at how you can actually apply the correct force to the golf club at the top so that you can start to get the maximum power out the club, you can get the maximum efficiency and get the club coming down on plane, and most of all, get it coming down with your body to give you more consistency, okay? Now, one of my favourite videos ever is the Ben Hogan one where you're kind of looking at him from kind of up here somewhere, coming down, and what we see is kind of, it starts about here in the transition, okay, with a driver, and we see that this left arm is away from the body right here, okay? Now, but whenever you see any other footage of Hogan and it's on sort of this view, you'll always see through impact that this left arm's reattached, okay? So people don't often pay attention to that other video and they're going, oh yeah, look how attached he is through here. So both arms have got to come down with that body. Your problem is, if you unwind from the top and keep those arms attached, what you'll actually end up doing is one of two things. You'll either turn, which will then steepen the golf shaft here, which will then mean it has to shallow out at the bottom. So it goes from steep to shallow, okay? So you end up becoming a picker, even though you're very, very steep coming down, okay? Probably has a lot of back out to it. What we're actually wanting to do is we're wanting to shallow the club, which then means from here, the club can work out and on top of the ball and get that compression impact. Now to get this, what happens is the hands have got to go outside towards the ball. So the right elbow is tracing a line towards the front part of the right hip in this direction. It's never going back. If it goes back, you see what happens to the shaft. It's steepened, okay? And my left arm is very trapped against the side of my body. So what we're actually wanting to do is, it's that the left shoulder, left arm, work forwards, okay? So in 3D terms, my lead arm adduction, the angle here, is getting quicker. That angle isn't staying tight. Okay, so we're going to get left arm comes forward, right elbow's forward. Okay, big thing though is, as this happens, the right elbow's forward, left arm's off, you can see that the golf club is shallowing. Best way to feel this, in my opinion, is take hold of the club like this, okay? So you've only got it just in the base of the fingers, the palm's going to be completely off. Take it to the top, make that transition. You can feel like the club falls back into the fingers. Okay, so you can actually see that the golf club's been laid backwards, okay? So shaft shallowed, okay? And the wrist, the left wrist, is slightly bowing or going that way, okay? I don't want it to be like this, okay? Because that's obviously got a shut club face now, okay? But it's gone from a little bit of cut, okay? It's gone from extended to starting to flex just a little bit coming down. So the club face now in a great position and it's shallowing. So this is the key. One of the big things to help fix your slice, okay? Also big things to help fix those guys who get very, very trapped. I've got a lot of players who get trapped coming down, i.e. in this sort of position, struggling to reach the ball. So you're wanting to try and feel that the hands go out, right elbow's going forward, golf shaft is shallowing. Well, from there, you have lots of space to find the golf ball. But it's understanding how those wrists are going to work, okay? If you get it bowed at the top, okay, it's really difficult to fix a lot of things. Can it work for some as a swing thought? Of course it can. If you've got a wild slice and the club face is way open at the top, having that as a swing thought could be a great thought for you. Just be careful though, you know, that although you've got two great players in the world with DJ and Spieth doing that, this is a problem that could actually end up hurting your game, not necessarily being great for it. I like to look at what the majority of the players on the tour or the best in the world are doing, not what the outliers are doing, okay? Those two guys aren't the standard wrist position at the top, okay? I see people always using still photographs to give an example of that the wrist is in this sort of position, but they're generally using that, the photographs of when that downswing has started. The data out there is 72% are this way and then go into that slight bow, okay? So for your game, back to that just a second, is make sure you're letting those hands go forward, you're letting that club shallow, and you're getting that left arm away from the body so there's lots of room this way, okay? You can see though, if I turn those hips at the same time really aggressively, those arms are going to be in a bad spot. So you need to make sure just allowing you have a little bit of lateral in that pelvis, okay? And the lateral is coming from the center of the pelvis right here. It's where it's measured. So it's going forwards. It isn't spinning. If it spins, right knee kicks out to the ball. Arms are going to be stuck behind that right hip. It's going to give you a lot of problems. And I think that that's going to end up, in the long term, hurting your game. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Really hope you've enjoyed it and found some useful information in there for your game. Hopefully debunked a few kind of common myths that are out there. We've got some fantastic kind of new videos, etc. coming our way. Going to be using all the new facilities here at Highley Park and hopefully in the studio, some 3D, etc. So I think we can really help your game going forward. If you want to subscribe to my channel, please do so at the bottom right here. I've got all my social media links at the bottom there, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go on my website to contact me and I'll speak with you again soon. Thanks a lot.